I call the member for Whitsunday.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. I rise to contribute, and as outlined by my colleague, the member for Mudgeeraba, this is very important legislation. I also am very disappointed by the government's approach in not allowing every member of the House to be able to debate the extension of powers and this legislation, because it is so critical, and as outlined by the members before me, it does impact every single Queenslander, both in our state and those who can't get back into our state at the moment, whether you're in business or whether you have a family member who has passed away or whether you are looking to return at some stage in the future. This does not take away from the importance of the health directives. This is not about questioning the actual health advice. What it is about the transparency of that health advice. What it is also about is ensuring the consistency when health advice is released and who is charged with communicating that health advice and the directives that are given, that members have an opportunity to represent their community so that the government can hear when that health advice is taken and turned and flippantly in a media conference or statement expressed, when the Premier stands up and tells people in South East Queensland not to travel to regional, rural and North Queensland, that it has an impact. And where was the health advice? Where was the health advice? When I am representing the Whitsundays and the member for Mackay touts how great the tourism industry is doing in the Whitsundays, I'll remind this House, with Hayman Island at 6% occupancy, Hamilton Island at 17% occupancy, Airlie Beach at 40% occupancy, charter boat companies that have a list of staff where they have to decide who gets a shift this week based upon the fact whether their partner works. Oh, the member for Cairns. I'll take an interjection from the member for Cairns. Are your charter boat industry at the moment divvying up their 2 or 3 trips out to the reef?
Pause the clock. Pause the clock. Member for Whitsundays, I'll ask you to direct your comments through the chair. Thank you.
I'll take your advice. Thank you, Madam Acting Speaker. Madam Acting Speaker, I'll take the interjection as well from the minister over there. International borders are closed. We are grateful for that decision that's been made by the federal government. We are grateful because we need to reach an 80% vaccination rate. That's a very good point. What is not closed is the border between Caboolture and Cairns. But when the Premier made that flippant comment when she came out of hotel quarantine, there are people across our state that are too scared to drive an hour's north. They are too scared because of a snap lockdown, because of 2 hours' notice, which is what this government delivers, and isolates Queenslanders from the other parts of the state. The double standards that exist, this current government, Deputy Speaker, is drunk on power. And that is a very dangerous place to be. It is an abuse of the power. It is why these powers are so important. It is why we have moved amendments to ensure that this House could come together again in December to debate if there is a need for an extension of power. But after the comments made by the Premier today in the House about children and vaccinations, and I look forward to seeing the health advice, I've already been contacted by parents across this state that are asking the question, are we now co-parenting with the Premier of Queensland? When was the Premier qualified to give vaccination advice to parents across the state? This is simple scaremongering, and it is an abuse of power, and it needs to be called out for what it is. The Labor government are so insecure that you need to keep fear in the minds of people, instead of promoting vaccinations, instead of going out to Indigenous communities and knocking door by door to ensure our most vulnerable population is vaccinated. When is the investment going to happen there? When is the rollout of vaccination going to occur? And you can blame the federal government all you want, but it was also the fear-mongering—
Pause the clock. Members on both sides, I'll ask that you stop quarrelling across chambers. Thank you. Call the member for
Thank you,
Whitsundays.
Deputy Speaker, but it was also the fear-mongering by this Premier around AstraZeneca that delayed people's take-up of vaccine and the vaccine rollout. And there needs to be responsibility taken. We will all accept the health advice when it is delivered transparently. Businesses will understand when you deliver the health advice with facts. But the continuation of scaremongering and fear makes me question and makes my community question whether this health system at 80% vaccination could actually handle any outbreak.
Madam Deputy Speaker,